It's clear, folks. Donald Trump is terrified of one thing. It's not the economy, it's the Epstein files. The country is in a crisis. People are stressed out about paychecks, programs on the brink. The whole government is wobbling. And what is he doing? He's literally running away from cameras when someone says the word Epstein. Let's let Caitlin Collins break it down here in this video.
Tonight, President Trump is staring down a potential wave of Republican defections over the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. But this is also coming as a bunch of polls show that the majority of Republicans actually do not approve of how the president has been handling the whole Epstein saga. The House Oversight Committee's release of some 20,000 pages of emails yesterday, where, as we reported, the president's name appeared several times, has also renewed scrutiny on why the White House is fighting the release of the Epstein files so hard. The president has never been charged or accused of a crime. He has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing here. He has actually not even been accused of wrongdoing here. But in Jeffrey Epstein's own words, as we read in these emails, he said of Trump, of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. It seemed to be a reference to what we heard from the president himself this summer, that he had kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club in South Florida for poaching the young women who worked there. Now, Speaker Mike Johnson is about to bring this vote to the House floor earlier than he has to because he wants to move on from all of this. It appears that the White House certainly does as well. The president has been in front of the cameras twice since we broke the story yesterday morning, but both times he did not take questions from reporters, including ones about the new Epstein emails.
Sir, any response to the Epstein emails that mention your name?
Now, whether or not this story stops next week after the House votes on this, as it is expected to pass, it remains to be seen if that's the end of this. I'm told the White House is very skeptical that this is going to go from the House to the Senate, even for a vote. They don't expect the majority leader there, John Thune, to actually even bring it to the floor for a vote. But whether or not that changes remains to be seen, because listen to what Republican Senator John Kennedy had to say about whether or not he thinks his body, the Senate, should take it up.
I just don't think this issue is going to go away until that issue is addressed and answered to the American people's satisfaction. And I may end up with a sombrero on my head for saying that, but that's the way I see it. I think he'll put it on the floor. I think this issue has got to be resolved one way or the other.
Joining me tonight is very deeply sourced Chief Washington correspondent for ABC News, Jonathan Karl, whose new book, Retribution, Donald Trump and the Campaign That Changed America, is in stores now. And pretty timely, because I think that is a question of whether or not some Republicans who are not doing what the White House wants them to do are going to face some retribution of their own over this.
I mean, this is extraordinary. The White House has gone to such lengths to prevent this vote from happening. I mean, as you've reported, the meeting in the Situation Room of the White House with the FBI director and the Attorney General all focused on a single Republican member of Congress, Boebert, who's been a Trump loyalist, and she wouldn't even do what they wanted. The phone calls, the president himself has called Boebert, attempted to get a hold of Nancy Mace. Both of them defied him. I think that this could be a very big vote. As you said, all those adjectives, the snowballing, the avalanche, this could be a very big vote in defiance of Trump.
I mean, the question is, why is the White House fighting this so hard? Because, I mean, they've said the president hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing. And so that has been kind of a big question here, is why they're going as far as to bring Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room. I mean, that's where they monitored the bin Laden raid. And it's now where they're trying to convince a House Republican not to vote to release the Epstein files.
It's mystifying. It's utterly mystifying, because also, even if this passes, which it now seems clear it is going to pass and pass big, you reported in the Senate. Look, my conversations today with Senate leadership, despite what you heard from Senator Kennedy there is absolutely no intention whatsoever to ever allow this to come up for a vote in the Senate.
Oh, wow.
But even if it did, and maybe, if this passes in the House with 350 or 400 votes, there will be more pressure for it to bring it up in the Senate. But even if it's brought up in the Senate, even if it passes that 60 vote threshold and it passes, it doesn't become law unless Trump signs it.
Which would never happen.
Which would never happen. So it doesn't make any sense. And as you have pointed out, look, there have not been any credible allegations of criminal conduct by conduct by the president involved in this or misconduct, but he is acting like somebody who has something to hide.
So that's really the question here, that all the pressure has been on Speaker Mike Johnson these last few weeks when the House has been gone about swearing in that 218th vote. That could turn to Majority Leader Thune soon.
Right.
If there are Republicans who say, well, we should bring it up for a vote, the question is whether or not, he buys into that or if he's easily pressured into doing so. It doesn't seem like that.
I mean, look, one person close to Thune today told me, look, the Senate doesn't really care what the House does. Because I was like, come on, are you really telling me that if the majority of Republicans join all of the Democrats in passing this thing, that the Senate could just sit on it and say, we don't care what the House does? But we'll see. I thought those comments from John Kennedy are very interesting.
Yeah, and what he was talking about the sombrero, he was saying the White House making fun of him as they've done to Democrats. We both covered the White House, covered Trump, been in those moments in the Oval Office where he just seems like he can't even resist taking questions. It is something the White House touts as his commitment to transparency. I wonder what you think. It says that he didn't take questions last night, and he also didn't take questions today as he was walking out of the East Room.
I mean, that was a very revealing piece of tape. I mean, when he's right there, the reporter is right there, the camera is there, and it's something that's in the news, Trump usually talks. So I don't know. And look, this has been a long process. I mean, I think you were there with me when in the first term when Trump just randomly said that he wished Ghislaine Maxwell well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a very strange approach to all of this. And let's think, it's also the House not being in session for all that time. It's Todd Blanche going down to Florida to meet with Maxwell.
Yeah.
It's transferring Maxwell to this lower security prison.
But your book gets into so much of the campaign, what that looks like. Also the transition, though. It has some really fascinating details on what that weird, 2-month period looked like in Mar-a-Lago, where they were trying to lock in on what do we want this second term to be. We've got this first year to really get a lot of what we want to be our legacy done. I mean, when you're reporting this and you're talking to all these people about that time period, did they ever think Jeffrey Epstein would dominate so much of the second term?
I mean, I never heard his name come up at all. No, not at all.
The more he tries to fight this, the guiltier he looks. No one is believing Trump's lies at this point, and Trump is doing everything, including using the power of the state to go after his enemies and to distract from what everyone knows. Trump is implicated. He was best buddies with Epstein, and there is some dirty stuff in these files that Trump does not want to come out. The two things he's doing: rebrand the Epstein scandal as a Democratic problem and weaponize the DOJ and the FBI to go after other people to further distract from him being in the files. I fully expect Pam Bondi to follow his lead, at least rhetorically. That's why he picked her, of course, but none of this fixes the actual problem. From day one, Trump has been the one leaning on the system to block the full release of the Epstein files. Why is he doing that? What does he have to hide? Leave me a comment if you have anything to say. Like this video if you made it this far, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.